Free at last, let freedom ring, yeah, we free at last. Gotta rise above, gotta spread the love, gotta build a dynasty.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. Today, we have a very special guest out of Dallas, Texas, Stacey Quinn. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Stacey is a mother, a wife, a mompreneur, a fashionista. So I'm very excited about today's show. Today's show is for anyone who is single, who is in a relationship, if you're married. Stacey and I will be talking about a lot of different things that we all can learn together and from one another, right? So Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at with yourself.
Right. Okay. So, thanks for having me on your podcast. I am Stacey Quinn. I'm 39 years old. I'm married. I've been with my husband for 10 years. We've been married for 6. We have a beautiful daughter named Gabriella. She's 7. I would say that I pretty much kicked it all through my 20s. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I had a regular 9-to-5 job. I finished school, got my business degree. So just kind of figuring stuff out along the way and learning from my mistakes. I went through a whole 10-year relationship with someone else. I was engaged to be married, wedding deposits, the whole 9, and it just didn't work out. So I remained single for quite a while until I could figure out what it was that I was looking for. But, you know, I knew that it wasn't that relationship. So I met my husband a couple of years later, and here we are. So I'm just kind of figuring out everything as far as the entrepreneurial side of things, because I've always had a 9-to-5, oh, I'm going to retire at this place type mentality. So it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I completely changed the way I had thought about things in life. So it's a little later on in life for me, but it's never too late.
Yes.
I'm finding out. So
I would totally agree with you. And you guys, just so you understand, my goal with this show is for people to understand how we can rise above to the highest heights in business and relationships and in any aspect in life, you know. So that's why I bring people on who can, you know, share their story and inspire us. And, you know, maybe we can learn something from their story that can help change our situation. So again, thank you, Stacey, for being here. And to back up what you were just saying, as far as, you know, you are still on your journey to where you want to be and who you want to become. And I feel like age is nothing but a number, right? I mean, you seem like you have a very, you know, you're young at heart. So I feel like really, as long as you have the drive, the ambition, and you keep going, that you'll find your way to where your destination is, right?
I agree.
So, you know, so let's talk a little bit about your business, right? So you are a fashionista, and that's one of the things that struck out most to me about you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've always been into clothes and fashion, and every time I go somewhere, my friends are like, oh my God, you are so extra. We are just going here. We're just doing some quick errands. You ain't got to do all that. In the airport, I'm like over the top. I don't know. It's just always been in me. And, I'm really big on Pinterest. So I'm like going through one day and I'm pinning a bunch of stuff, and I come across this skirt that this lady was wearing, and she's always on my feed. So I'm like, oh my God, this skirt is so cute. I need to know where I can buy it. You know what I mean? So I went to the pin, and then, you know, of course it gives you a link and all that. And so I found this lady's website. Her name's Mimi G Style. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's a really popular sewing blogger.
Okay.
So I went to her website, and she says, hey, you know, you like this skirt? I can show you how to make this skirt. And I'm like, what? I can make this skirt. So I made like little bibs and what do you call the little things you hang over your shoulder when you're birthing the baby? I would make my own cloths and stuff like that for my daughter with, her initials and stuff. So I already had a sewing machine and a couple of things to get me started. Right. So it was just something I really, really got into probably about 5 years ago. So I've been sewing for about 5 years. So I started making my own clothes, and of course I messed up a lot of expensive fabric, and it is a very expensive hobby, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But I stuck with it. I started going to sewing conferences out in LA, just getting around a different group of females that had the same type of interest, as I did. I never really wanted to sew for anyone. I would like to say that I'm a really selfish sewer because there's a lot involved with the process. So every time I go out, people be like, oh my God, that's so cute. Where can I get it? And I'd be like, oh, right. I hate it. And I get the whole, can you make me one? But, dealing with women, sometimes we can be a little high maintenance and over the top. So I always just shied away from that. Especially since I'm very sensitive about my craft and what I do. So it wasn't until recently that I started, sewing and putting my work out there for everybody to see. And one of the things that kind of propelled me forward and motivated me was the whole COVID-19 situation. I did see that there were a couple of ladies in my sewing community that were making their own masks. So I'm like, okay, let me just make a few for my family. Right. And so I took a selfie and I put it on my Facebook page, and I'm like, hey, y'all, I made this mask. I'd be happy to make you one. It's, I gave the amount or whatever. Right. And, oh my God, it just like took off from there. I had no idea that I was gonna get this busy and get so many orders. Right. So I'm trying to be as organized as possible. And people are like, you need to get you a Shopify store. And I'm like, no, I don't want it to get too out of hand. I want to be able to have control over it because this is something I'm doing by hand. I'm not buying in bulk from China, and I don't do that. Everything I get and send out is made by me personally. So it just started to get out of hand, with all the different cash apps and trying to, transfer this order over to my Google spreadsheet. So I'm like, okay, I got to get more organized. Right. So I eventually got my Shopify store up and running. Everything's so organized now. Orders are still coming in. So it just kind of gave me more ideas, so when the whole thing blows over, I do plan to put a few pieces on my website for custom orders. Yeah.
Yes. So a couple of things. So one thing is your pieces, your art is very unique. And that's what struck out to me. It's like, it's not the type of, what you would see anywhere else or on your timeline by anybody else. So, definitely I feel like you have something there that, it stands out, and I feel like it can be high end if it's already not, you know what I mean? So, girl, definitely push towards that. And being that you said something about COVID-19, I like the fact that, because it is a real tragic time right now, right? And however, I do feel that in most instances, for a lot of people, it's going to be how we look at the situation. For some people, we know that they are really grieving because they have lost loved ones, right? But how can we not let that affect the whole world of seeing what's going on and able to see the opportunities that are also at hand, right? And I think that's what you took it upon yourself to do, is you've seen an opportunity where you can actually help people at the same time in these troubling times. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me, how are you doing with the COVID-19 situation, and, you just taking a look at it and seeing the opportunity there.
Right. I've always been a homebody. 90% of the time I'm with my family doing family stuff. And 90% of the time I'm sewing and working on my blog, Patterns and Peas. So when the whole COVID-19 situation came about, I don't know, it's just something that went off in my head that I felt like I needed to do to help people, because my day job, I work at a hospital clinic type setting, and I thought something was kind of off when people were, you know, grabbing the mask, because we normally have mask and sanitizer all year round, just, you know, for a cold and flu season.
Right.
So I started to see a trend that, you know, these masks are coming up missing. And so they started to take them away and put notes saying, hey, if you need a mask, please see the front desk. So I'm like, okay, so there's obviously a shortage that, you know, is going on. So let me see what I could do to try to help people. And I don't know, it just went off like a light bulb, you know, like, I can do this. I can sew. I have material on hand that, you know, I can wash and prepare and send out. Like, my business was kind of already set up in a sense to do orders, because I have sewn a few garments for people. So it wasn't that hard for me to, you know, kind of transfer that over. My business was already set up. So, yeah. But.
And Stacey, would you say that, you know, what's you, because you just mentioned that you also work a 9-to-5. So you're in the process, while building your brand, your business, you also have a job. And I know that is a question a lot of people who's looking to become an entrepreneur or own their own business, they battle with the fact of how do they work around their 9-to-5, or even, you know, detach themselves from their 9-to-5 to focus on their business. Right. How is that working out for you?
I would say, first of all, you have to completely change your mindset, okay? When you go to work, you have to look at it like, okay, this is my bridge job to get me over the hump and fund my business to keep it going, okay? So I worked on a job, I don't work there now, but I worked for a company for 13 years. I thought I was going to retire there. But something just went off in my head. Like, I don't think I want to live the rest of my life set up to where I'm going to just come to work, you know, Monday through Friday and retire. And then what? You know what I mean? Right. So I always knew that I did not want to stay with a 9-to-5. So I read a few books on motivation and mindset and all that. And once my mindset completely changed, it's like, okay, I know I got to go into work. I got to feed my family, and I also have to fund my business. So I would definitely say, if you have a job, keep your job and look at it as a tool to help you get to the next level. Because I can say that I wouldn't be where I am now if I did not have my 9-to-5 as far as where my business stands. Mm-hmm. All that to say, the job that I was at before for 13 years, I'm like, okay, I want to do makeup. I want to do, you know, skincare. I went to beauty school. I got my aesthetics license. So I am a licensed esthetician. So I thought, you know, let me quit my job and let me just go in cold turkey. No, I failed big time. Because, you know, when the invoices and the receipts and all that stuff starts adding up, it's like, okay, you only got 1 or 2 clients a week. It's going to take you some time to build that up. That was really hard. So, you know, I did that for a couple of years, and I bit the bullet and went back to work. And I've been back at work ever since. And I'm like, you know what, until my business can supplement my lifestyle, not just my business, but my whole lifestyle, eating out, all that stuff, that's when I will quit. But right now, I go in there, swipe in like everybody else.
Yes, definitely.
And work on my business. And you have to make time for that. Like, you got to cut out TV and all that extra stuff that's like taking up your time. And there's going to be some nights where you don't get hardly any sleep, because your business is like a baby. You got to nurture it. You got to just, you know, constantly look after it and stay on your business. So there's no time to chill, or, you know, you can't go out with your friends and hang out for drinks and stuff like that and brunch, and you got to be focused.
Right.
Yes.
So awesome, because that would be the same advice I would give, you know. Definitely focusing is the factor, you know. So But yeah, I do believe in, just like you mentioned, in you keeping your job, however you pay your bills, but there's 24 hours in a day, and you have to find a time to, you know, if you're going to help somebody else build their wealth, you also have to invest in yourself to build your own wealth, right? So yeah, you know, give up the stuff, you know, that you need to give up for some years to get to where you need to get to, you know. So
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so what's your future? Where do you see your business in a few years? Is it something that you're looking forward to? Like, you know, you'll have your own boutique, you'll have your own clothing line. Do you think that far with it?
All of the above. I'm actually working on getting some pieces in for my online boutique now. And then eventually, like I said, I'm gonna design a collection that's, you know, made by me personally, and it's gonna be more customized for. I really want to cater to the modern woman that, you know, less is more. You don't have to have everything showing. You know,
Right, and that's what I love about your pieces, by the
you
way.
can still be cute and classy. You know, nothing's wrong with a little shoulder or a little leg, but
Right.
part I'm more on maxi dresses and, you know, skirts, slacks, cute little tops, things like that.
Okay. And what does your husband do for a living?
My husband is an IT engineer, so he builds out servers and works on computers, and I really don't know the specifics.
Okay.
He's a big old geek, and he also day trades during the day.
Okay, awesome. So I do see, like, you guys, like, so, you know, my thing is that I love being inspired by couples that because I would one day would like to be in an inspiring relationship, right? And it looks like you guys have a very impactful relationship from what I can see, where you motivate each other as far as, you know, staying healthy, looking good, pushing each other towards your goals. And, you know, you were explaining to me in a conversation how he helps you with your business. And, you know, so let's talk a little bit about that. How is that, you know, how does that play out for you guys?
We're really corny, and I know it's like it sounds too good to be true. When you have gone through what I went through in my past relationship, you don't think that you're worthy or capable of receiving love, or if some gestures are done that you're not used to, you don't know how to receive that. So I will say, out of the 10 years that I have been with my husband, my soulmate, my everything, I did have a hard time in the beginning learning to accept his love and understanding that not all guys are built the same.
Right.
But in the beginning, you know, we both had relationships where they didn't work out. They were very toxic. And we knew going into the relationship that that was not going to be us. We were not going to build our life around that.
Right.
There are any disagreements, or, you know, don't get me wrong, he get on my nerves, but I love him to death. And if there is a disagreement, we don't argue in front of our child. We don't go below the belt. We don't say anything that we might regret down the road. And we never go to bed angry at each other. So what I will do is we'll separate. Like, I will go in my room, he'll go, you know, in his office area, and we just kind of stay like that until we both can calm down and come back and talk about whatever it is that's bothering us.
Right.
As far as the fitness, I've always been a fitness type person, lifting weights and very active from my early 20s. So that's something that I've always had in my life. And when I met him, I said, you know what, I'm off into fitness, I eat well, you know, this is my life. And if you're going to be a part of that, you got to jump on this with me, because I work out like 5 days a week. So
Right.
I can't say that now because the gyms are closed, but me, you know, we were running. Like, that's just something that we always worked on together. I said, as long as you continue to look good for me and not let yourself go, I will do the same. And that's what we've always committed to 100%.
Right. I feel like that really brings good energy in a relationship.
It does.
I can imagine, right?
Especially when, I didn't cut you off, but
no, you're good, honey.
When you have that support, it's easier to stick with a certain diet or meal plan, if you will, if everybody's on the same page.
Right. And so from your past relationship that was not so healthy, right? And I like to look at past relationships and see whether it was good or bad, whatever, the good and the bad, right? What would you say was your most valuable lesson that has helped you in your most valuable lesson in past relationships that has helped you to become the woman who you are and the wife that you are to your husband today?
Never settle. If you're lonely, stay lonely. Go get a dog. Go join some community groups or something. But don't dumb yourself down and allow yourself to be in a toxic relationship just to say you have a man or, you know, you're getting that kind of attention, because I can tell you firsthand from experience, you can do a lot better. And there's somebody for everybody, you know what I mean? So just be patient. I wouldn't say go out running and trying to find someone. I believe that true love will find you.
Yeah, right.
My husband, I was going out and I was with a friend. So she's like, we got to go to my boyfriend's house real quick because he's got to get some stuff because we were all going out. I wasn't even looking for nobody, girl. I was just, okay.
Right.
Her boyfriend and my husband were roommates at the time, and he just so happened to be there. He was actually getting ready to go on a date. So I was like, you know, I met him, you know, we said hi or whatever, and I knew I liked him. I knew, you know, we were gonna talk, and even though he was going on a date, I didn't care because I'm like, you coming back, so you know, I'm not even worried about it. So here we are now.
And
go
ahead.
Be yourself and don't stay in a relationship just because it's convenient and that's the person that you're comfortable with and you're familiar with.
Right. And because I feel like a lot of women, because I was one of those women at one point where, you know, okay, I'll just settle. I'll just be in this relationship because it works for me, you know. But later on, I realized that I missed out on a lot, you know. I missed out on really working on myself as an individual to even know what my ideal guy would look like, right? And what I think is important, because some people will be like, okay, I'll stay single, I don't want to date. But while you're single, I think it's also important to work on yourself, because eventually you'll be dating. And, you know, you have people who go into relationship after relationship, just different relationships, but the same person, because they haven't taken the time to realize what they even want in a relationship, what that ideal person, that woman or man would look like to them, you know? So me, like I was telling you earlier, I like to be inspired by, you know, if I see a couple or if I see a woman or a man that, you know, that they have something that inspires me, that lets me know, oh, this is something I would like to have, you know? So when he does come about, I would know what he looks like. I would know what to expect. But if I'm not even in tune with myself to know, or have been working on myself to know what this looks like, then I would more than likely settle for anything that came my way. Would you agree?
I absolutely. I'm gonna elaborate on that just a little bit. Mm-hmm. When I was engaged to my ex, we were gonna get married, I would say maybe 6 to 8 months down the road. And I went to bed one night and I had a dream about this man. It was not my fiance at the time, but this man, I knew, you know, his complexion, what he was built like. He made me laugh. He was so sweet. We had so much fun together. Mm-hmm. So when I woke up, it was almost too good to be true. So when I woke up, I felt so empty because I knew in that moment that I was not supposed to be with that man. Mm-hmm. So luckily, you know, I'm so glad it didn't work out, because when I met my husband, I knew, I said, this is the guy from my dream. I did not know what he was like in the face, but he was build, I knew his complexion, and I knew his personality. And
Right.
it's kind of scary because it's like he came in and he was like that. I was like, "You're the guy from my dream."
Right.
Yeah,
Right. The universe, right?
yeah. And we didn't, we didn't have a fancy wedding, girl. We went to the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
We got our marriage license, and I think after that we went to a house party for a friend or something. Like it was casual, and I've never been happier. Never been happier.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So now you guys are an attractive couple because you work out, you're healthy. So does, insecurity play a part at all?
What do you mean, like with me and other women with him, or?
Like you being jealous if he's around other women, or him being jealous if you are around other men?
We don't have that. We talked about that when we first got together. I had guy friends, and I think it's okay for women to have guy friends if they're genuine friendships. There were guys that I went to college with, would never date them, never, went anywhere else beyond that. And he knew that going into the relationship that there were guys that I was friends with, and I knew that about him, but we were not going to let that affect us. And I think this is going to be really hard because I can't say that every woman will master this, but if you're confident in yourself, there is no other woman that can make you feel like they can come in and, I don't know, pull your man away, or even when I have conversations with women, I don't let it bother me because I know it's not inappropriate. I know he's not disrespectful. I completely trust him.
Right.
And I'm like, she can't give you, you're not going to get the same energy from me as you would with her. And even so, if you went that way, honey, you are welcome to go because I know my worth. And if that did happen, then, you got to pick yourself up and move on. You cannot let any man, bring you to a point to where you're so insecure, you're not going to let him talk to anybody or have any friends or any of that. No, I think every relationship has to have that balance, as long as the people that they're talking to, they are respectful. Right. There are times where there are guys that have approached me, my husband could have went to the bathroom or something. You got to be able to put them in their place too and say, hold on, I'm there. You can't let it go far or give anybody any kind of hint that what they're talking to you about is welcome if it's inappropriate.
I always say that my ideal relationship, I would want it to be, I wouldn't care if my husband or my partner, if we're on the two different ends of the world, that we know that no matter what, it's about us, right? No matter who approaches, you should be able to be like, listen, I'm involved with somebody, I'm not looking for anything. And, I want to feel comfortable if my man is having a conversation with another woman who I don't know. You know what I mean? I want to know that I could turn my back and don't have to think twice about it.
And I feel I feel that way, that, I trust my husband enough to put that person in their place if it were to go beyond a basic conversation about business or life or whatever. If it's getting inappropriate, I know he'll nip it in the bud just like I will with another guy. So
right.
Everybody got to be on the same page.
Right. Exactly.
You're both fulfilled and you're getting what you need out of that relationship. There's really no need for you to go be talking to somebody else or entertaining any other attention. Like, you should be already getting that. And if you're not getting that, then that's a problem because y'all need to talk about that.
Right. And so let's talk a little bit about generational wealth, right? So what's your thoughts on you and your family understanding about generational wealth, or are you guys interested in building, or have you? And if you have, what is some of the steps that you've taken towards that?
I think that building generational wealth is very important. And I think that it was a little unfortunate for me because, I had love, I had food, I had shelter, but I was not educated on the importance of, financial education, credit, working for yourself and building a legacy. I was always taught, okay, you go to work, you work for what you want, and you come home, and then on the weekends you can go have fun, or on the holidays or whatever. And you know, you're supposed to go to college, and you're supposed to get a good degree and a good job and all that. That's what I was taught. I was never taught financial literacy. So, and I didn't really take it seriously until later on to my mid to late 30s, that I'm like, oh, I'm getting kind of old. I need to kind of pull it back and see what it is that I want and what I want to build for my family going forward. So
right.
I think it's important that you can't take everybody with you, but the people in your family or friends that are willing to listen, you should educate them. My husband and I, yes, we have started to build wealth. I would say you have to change your mindset first, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know how to manage the money, then you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. I feel like that's how some people, you know, that win the lottery and stuff, they go broke so fast because they're just like spend as soon as they get it. So I think that the foundation of it all is you have to have the mindset, and you have to have a good solid education on financial wealth and how to build wealth and how to keep it. So we're not where we want to be, but you know, we working on it.
Definitely. And not to cut you off, Stacey. And I believe that's what it takes. Just what you just said is really just being aware, number one, right? Because we were raised differently. You know, we were raised like you just said, to go to school, get a degree in something. And basically I believe the school system, I'm not knocking education at all. I think that we just have to make, you know, the future generation aware going in what it's really about, you know, going in with something feasible to say, okay, if I'm going to school for this period of time, it's going to cost this much to not allow me to be in debt for the rest of my life. Or I'm going to school for something that will actually be able to pay off this debt sooner than later, you know, just those little things. And we weren't taught that. So a lot of us are in debt for the rest of our lives. And I honestly, I have been researching generational wealth lately for the past few years. And what surprises me the most is the reason why we are in debt is really because of lack of education. That's really it, you know? So if we were to educate, and there's so much free information out there these days, if we were to educate ourselves and start educating our kids and the next generations to come, I feel like just as the wealthy people, because that's what they do, they learn this information, they apply it, you know, and then they teach the ones after them. And each generation does it better and greater, right? So I think it's very important, especially us people of color, to understand that we lack education in that area. They're not going to teach it to us in schools. They don't even teach it to people who go to universities for finance, you know? So it's important to know that that's something we have to take upon ourselves and figure it out, and to know the value that, you know, it can bring to your family.
I agree.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about how do you, I think we kind of mentioned it, but how do you feel, what do you feel, what's your, I believe in order for a couple to be successful, you need to be compatible. What's your thoughts on that?
I think so. I agree. It saves a lot of time and a lot of arguments, a lot of miscommunication. I don't know. We got all that stuff out of the way when we were dating and kind of going through the process before we got married. I think you guys all need to have the same, not the same exact goals, but you guys want to go in the same direction. Right. So I just want to just say that everybody just needs to be on the same page, whatever it is you decide for your life and what you want to do. And if your husband or boyfriend is over here with his goals and he not feeling what you're trying to do and his mindset is not there, I'm not saying you can't work on that and try to change their mindset, but if you're not getting any traction or if it's not getting anywhere, me personally, I wouldn't waste my time. Now with a husband, I'm not a marriage counselor or anything. I will say you guys probably need to sit down and talk about your goals and, you know, how you need to align.
Right.
Together. So.
Right. I agree with you. And would you say like your husband investing in you as a person would, you know, help better determine, like, you know, like your husband investing in you as a person helps you become a better version of yourself, right? Or like, you know, some people are in relationships and it's kind of like, you know, the guy's doing his own thing, the female is doing their own thing. They're not pouring into each other, which does not make the relationship itself flourish. I'm not a marriage counselor either, right? But I just, like, from my past experience in relationships, I like to look at the things that I've been through, like I said, to not keep going through them over and over, right? And I find that if you're with someone and they're investing in you, they're pouring into you, they're helping you become the best version of you. You know, how does, you know, what's your experience with that, with your husband, past relationships? Do you feel like that's something that's a must in a relationship?
I think so, because I didn't have a lot of support with things that I wanted to do in my last relationship. My ex has a 9-to-5 mentality. You know, go to work hard, you know, you get your degree, you retire from wherever it is that you're working. Like, if I would have tried to do any of the things that I'm doing now, I would have gotten so much pushback. But my husband has always supported me. He supported me quitting my job and bills on him, and, you know, starting a makeup and skincare business, and that didn't work out. And he never said, I told you it wouldn't work out. You know, he was always, okay, babe, well, you know, what do you want to do now? It's always, right, what is going to make you happy? How can I support you? Because if you're not happy, I'm not happy, we're not happy, everybody miserable. So how can I support you to get you going to where you need to be? And so, for example, with the mask, man, my husband, I would give him the mask. He be in there ironing and he's inspection and snipping the extra thread. So he be right there in the grind with me, just like, we're in this together.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Very refreshing.
That's awesome. And okay, so let's talk a little bit about you being a Black woman with a Black family. You're going after your dreams, because I feel like a lot of times us people of color may feel like, you know, we have less of an advantage. And I'm not saying that we don't, but I would like to hear your opinion as to, like, you know, do you feel like you being a Black woman here in America would give you less an advantage to go after your dreams? Like, you know, like, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. I think a lot of that has to do with who you are surrounding yourself with. I will say that in the past 10 years, my circles have changed tremendously. I lost quite a few best friends in my between 30 and 39 now. And as painful as it is, you know, if you guys aren't, you know, having the same goals and mindset, and you have friends that have a 9-to-5 mentality and they're getting offended that, you know, you want to do something else and you just don't agree with that type of lifestyle. I mean, that's okay. You guys can still be friends, but I think it's important and it's healthy if you try to surround yourself with other people with like-minded views.
Right, right.
Just, I think within the past year, the people that I've met and networked with have held me, they don't even know it, but they've held me accountable for what I want to do. You know, it's one thing to talk the talk, but you know, what are you doing to back it up? So I feel like I always got to be on my toes because the people around me are so successful. I feel like a lot of them are smarter than me, but I feel
Right.
like I'm the smartest person in the room, and that's a problem. Like,
Right. Right.
just changing my circle, not necessarily getting rid of all of my friends because that's not what I'm saying,
Right.
but me to get uncomfortable and meet other people, but that have the same mindset as you do, because I swear they will hold you accountable.
Definitely.
Even if they're not directly saying what is it that you're doing, you know, in your business or whatever it is that you're planning to do. You just better have something to show for it the next time y'all meet up, because people are gonna look at you like, what you been doing? I don't want to be that person. So I'm focused, I'm dedicated, I'm always on the grind because that's what I see. That's what I see on my social media pages.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what the housewives are doing, or I don't know stuff. I want to know, okay, is this business opportunity good, or what can I learn from this person? You know, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Definitely. I agree with you. Now, you've mentioned a word that I love to use a few times since we've been talking here, and I just want to elaborate on it a little bit, which is mindset, right? How important is, you've mentioned a few times how important it is. For me, I totally agree. Mindset is everything, surrounding yourself with the right people and having the right mindset really can completely change your life, So tell us a little bit more about mindset for you.
Well, I'll give you an example. So my husband and I recently got into investing in real estate. We had a lot of extra income coming into the house, but we didn't want to spend it. We wanted to invest in it, but we didn't know exactly what we wanted to do. So we have a good friend that is here in Dallas, and he does really well with fixing and flipping homes, and he has a couple of rental properties. And I don't know, I just never really thought anything of it. I knew that I did not want to be in real estate. I thought it was complicated, it was hard, you had to have a whole crap ton of money to get started and all this. And he's like, well, let me show you something. And he pulled out one of his checks that he got from a recent flip that he did. And I was like, so what I got to do? Like, well, I can't just have you jump in with me and me show you the ropes. You got to change your mindset first. So dude, 5 or 6 books to read before he would even continue to have a conversation with us, with me and my husband, to continue to have a conversation with us about what it was that he was doing. So reading those books, like my husband and I, we were getting ready to buy our dream home, and we're gonna put all this money into the house and everything. But once I read those books, I was like, I don't want that house.
Right.
I don't want that house. We sacrificed a lot. We moved out of our place and moved in with my former friend and her husband. In retrospect, I wouldn't say that that's the best idea to live with a friend, but it was a sacrifice for us, and it was bittersweet. No, we're not friends anymore, but we saved a lot of money, by just cutting back on things and looking at our budget and saying, okay, now we got a little, some money reserved up. Now, we can kind of get started and see what it is that we want to do. So just your mindset, just, a lot of stuff. I think people want that instant gratification. I want this now. I want to do this. Now. But and that was really hard for me to do because I was so used to the comfort of my own 4 walls, like do what I want, and living with somebody else. It was hard. But it taught us discipline. We focused on budgeting and how to get everything back on track. I'm not saying we weren't off track, but we were spending so much money on a lifestyle and didn't really have anything to show for it.
Right.
To bring it back in and figure out, what we needed to do to get ourselves up to the next level. And I think by doing that and getting rid of our rental expenses and all the unnecessary subscriptions and things that you need, it helped propel us forward to where we are now, and we're still going.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to have the mindset, and you definitely have to make some sacrifices and get uncomfortable.
Definitely, definitely. And I like the fact that, you know, you guys are willing to look into something and seeing if there's something there for you, right? I've recently entered into real estate investing myself. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for about 8 years now. And I love opportunities, you know, and I love businesses or opportunities that you could come in and not have so much overhead or so much expenses, and really just able to learn something, apply it, and capitalize off of it, which there's a lot of different ways of making money out there these days in that type of fashion. You know, that's why I say, like, you know, I don't necessarily say we live in the land of the free. I like to say we live in the land of opportunity, because there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Right.
And for those who may think, like, you know, the color of our skin would stop us, to me, I've never experienced that. I've never had that to be a blocking point for me. So it goes back to mindset. It's really, you know, whatever you want to see, that's what you will see, you know, so definitely.
I just think we as Black people, we got as much right to a life, that type of, or a certain type of lifestyle as anyone else.
Definitely.
We've got as much right as anyone else to do whatever it is that we want to do. So I don't let that bother me at all, because I feel like we have that right. And you shouldn't feel a certain type of way or think that you're not capable of living a life of abundance or having things that you normally couldn't have, you know what I mean, and working hard.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
don't apologize for your success or your goals or where you're going in life, because you have that right. You've got every much right as anyone else.
Definitely. Definitely.
Whatever color you are.
So I want to thank you so much for your time, Stacey. Before we get ready to go, I just want to ask you a question, a closing question. So if you were to, you know, if there's anything you could tell yourself, your young self, let's say your young teenage self, what would it be?
Don't take on a lot of debt. Take care of your credit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Educate yourself on the hustle, on how to become successful in your own right. Learn to not have a mentality to where you're going to make someone else rich. Okay. You can do this all on your own, but it does take a lot of discipline. So don't quit your 9-to-5, but use that as a tool to propel you forward to work for yourself and have your own business to where you can build that wealth and leave something for your children.
Definitely, definitely, girl. You said a mouthful. Thank you so very much. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you?
Yeah, so Instagram, you can follow my sewing page, Patterns in Peas. So that's patterns as in sewing patterns, _ the letter N _ peas. So that's Pattern in Peas on Instagram. Or you can follow my online boutique page. It's pretty new on Instagram. It's called Bossy Glamworks. If you're interested in any of my products, or you just want to check me out and be nosy and be like, who is this chick? You can go to either one of those pages, or you can hit me up at my website, www.patternsandpeas.com. That's my sewing blog. And my website for my online boutique is www.bossyglamworks.com.
Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Stacey. I wish you well during this times that we're going through right now. And thank you very much.
Everybody listening, stay safe.
Yes, you guys. Bye. Till next time.
We was built to win, not a follower. Yeah, I set trends. Yeah, we beat the odds through the grace of God. Gave 110%, I gave it all I got. Yeah, we beat the odds through the grace of God. 110%, I gave it all I got.